A new government watchdog report finds, quote, severe, widespread shortages of critical supplies across the country, adding to the strain. And the report says those shortages are making it harder for hospitals to test and protect their staff.
Today, we're remarkably reliant on imports from other countries for basic medical supplies, medicine, masks, gloves, ventilators, and we're especially reliant on China. What happened with trade in medical supplies in the U.S. is a perfect example of everything wrong with both the Trump administration and our current global economy rules. We got these rotten trade agreements because there are over 500 official U.S. corporate trade advisors who get to see the secret texts, who get to shape the agreements, and they wrote them for their needs.
The simple reality is that if a company has the option of hiring somebody in a low-wage country, they don't have to deal with unions, don't have to deal with environmental standards. Why would you not go to those countries? The answer is they have gone, and that's what these trade policies are about.
Thanks to decades of these corporate rigged trade agreements that promoted the outsourcing of much of our domestic manufacturing capacity. The Department of Health and Human Services says today, in this crisis, 90% of the surgical masks we need, we have to rely on imports. 70% of the respirators are now imported for the US. 90% of all active pharmaceutical ingredients come from just two countries, India and China.
We don't have enough tests today to meet what we anticipate will be the demand going forward.
The virus was going to be bad, but the enormous number of deaths and the devastation to our economy, those are partially man-made problems, caused both by decades of gutting our domestic productive capacity to make the medical supplies and medicines that we need, and also by the administration's total inability to plan, coordinate, even see this problem coming. And so here we have a global health emergency, and we have no control. Corporations decide exactly when something will be made, where it will go, who will buy it. That would have already caused a crisis. But the Trump administration made it worse. Right into March, they were urging the US companies that already make such a small share of masks, of gloves, of ventilators, to send those goods to China, which was planning for the crisis they knew they were having and buying up goods. But China had already stopped sending goods to us in the same exact sectors. We need rules domestically that actually prioritize the government buying some essential goods from domestic suppliers. So for instance, as Senator Sanders has long said, we need the Buy America rules that actually create a market for production in the US of essential supplies.
In my view, if large corporations want us to buy their products, the time is long overdue for them to reinvest in the United States and build manufacturing plants here and not in China. A country that cannot produce the goods that its consumers require and becomes more and more dependent on other countries for what it needs is not a country that will remain a major economic power in this global economy.